step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom, I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with, giving my blood so I am relentless.
All right, this is a Keep Hammering Collective with Kevin Akers.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Did you know you were going to ever be a guest on the Keep Hammering Collective? You probably should have anticipated it, right?
Well, I kept it a secret, though.
Yeah, we don't want the word getting out and crowds forming, and
no, we gotta gather and
protect. So
exactly.
For people who don't know, I'll just give you a brief little biography of Kevin. So Kevin, Oregon bow hunter from way back. He's been a lineman. Me and Kevin both started like in public working municipalities about the same time, I think.
96 is when I started.
I think I was about there, maybe 97. But anyway, you've been a lineman. Now you've been there for how many years is that? It's getting close to 30, right?
Yeah, May of 96 till now.
Yeah.
Still.
And but during that whole time, we've been bow hunters. When did you start bow hunting?
You know, I was thinking about that on the way down here. I was like, what am I going to say? But I'm like, I don't know. So how about bow hunting? So I go, well, I think my first deer tag, archery tag, was 1985.
Ooh.
Or 6, one of the two.
You got me beat then.
I was hunting with a recurve.
Ooh. Did you kill anything?
No, I missed a lot.
Hell no.
No, dude, I couldn't hit. 30 yards was like a 100-yard shot now.
Yeah, I couldn't hit. I mean, my first season, I missed $16.
Yeah.
But that was, my bow sounded like a 22, so.
I know. Yeah, but I worked, some people I worked for on a farm, they, as a summer bonus, they bought me my first compound, a Golden Eagle. And I think I was 14 or 15. Mm-hmm. And so it was just off from there. That dramatically improved things. So I had a Golden Eagle Super Hawk Turbo Cam. Do you remember what yours was? It didn't have that many names.
Yeah, just Golden Eagle.
It was a Golden Eagle compound. And I was flabbergasted when they got it from me. I was just like, no one I knew bow hunted. Nobody bow hunted.
Was it black?
No, it was camo.
Oh, I had a camo my own. So green and black spray paint with ferns.
Oh, yeah. I used to do that. The arrows. One of my bows, I think it was a bear bow I had. I did spray paint it all black. Like, black became a popular thing of a bow.
It's called Murdered Out.
Oh, huh. Well, I spray painted mine black long before it was in vogue to do it. Yeah, it wasn't cool, but I did it. And but remember painting arrows? I used to paint arrows.
I never did that. Wayne did that and screwed himself up. And yeah,
it couldn't have been good.
No, I mean, but when you're trying to get pie plate accuracy, remember that was the goal. Like a regular white paper pie plate. If you could keep your arrows in there, then you're good to go.
Yeah. So, that was standard wisdom.
Actually, the standard wisdom was your hunting distance is whatever distance you can keep 4 out of 5 in a white paper plate.
Yeah.
So you could have, 1 3 foot off, but if the other 4 caught that edge of that plate, hey, shit, how far is that? You're good to go.
I know. I think a lot of people 1 out of 5 would have been good on the plate.
Oh, man.
And off they went, But hey, it was, the equipment is vastly superior. There's no doubt. It's not even close. I mean, I missed a lot of stuff, of course. And it was just, but I stalked a lot.
Yeah.
The whole name of the game, and still is it's bow hunting. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to get closer.
Yeah.
And
it's tough.
And I remember when 30-yard pin was my last pin. Mm-hmm. And so if it was at 40, there could be a world record bull at 40, and I'd try to get 10 yards closer.
I'd probably just hold my pin high and let it go.
But
I didn't have many ethics back then. I mean, ethics came in later, it seems like.
Ethics evolve over time. That's a tricky word.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just wanted to kill.
Me too. That was the overpowering, overwhelming desire. And I don't think you teach people that.
Yeah.
I think that just is, it was, I'm pretty sure it was born into me because I didn't need any assistance or help. I mean, I lived off and on, kind of like you did with different parents and stepdad and stats. And my dad hunted a little bit, right? But he took me. in my first 2 years rifle hunting. After that, I was on my own.
Yeah.
And there was no doubt what I wanted to do. And that's the one thing that I've always done.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, nobody ever had to like encourage me to go hunting and kill. They had to maybe say, you know what, maybe you need to not go so much. So it was like, I just was addicted to it. But what I've always said about you specifically is if you have somebody who's hunted public land, especially in tough hunting like Oregon, where this isn't like, I've always said, nobody from Montana, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, they're not coming to Oregon to elk hunt. So if you can kill bulls in Oregon, and especially like this, I have this benchmark. If you can have killed over 20 bulls with your bow on public land in Oregon, then I say, if you know somebody like that, you should probably listen to them because they know what the fuck they're talking about.
It's a good benchmark.
Right. And so that's you. What do you think has been your key to elk hunting success?
Well, I got to add to preface this really that not all those bulls, I'm shot a lot over 20, but a lot of them came from after a while I would go to Idaho. Yeah. After I lived there, I would go back and then hit in other states. So then you're hitting years where you're killing 2 bulls, maybe 3. Yeah. And so it starts stacking up. Yeah. As you well know. Because in Idaho, you could if they didn't sell out those non-resident tags, you could buy another tag and kill 2 bulls, right? Yeah, when they went to that system, that was possible. And there were guys that did it. Yeah. And did well. But, so there were a lot of years there were 2 bulls. But yeah, it was up for years and years. It was just Oregon. Mm-hmm. And that was the big deal. And I always hunted Eastern Oregon. I never really did the coast that much at all. I mean, there were just more elk. It was it was just more country. That's where I started hunting. So it was more country that I felt comfortable in. And, so that's where we'd go. And it was fun. I mean, well, how would you get a bull on the ground? What was your time? Time. That's what I say. Time is a bow hunter's best friend. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you only have a handful of days, it's tough to get that slam dunk, or not even a slam dunk, but a good opportunity without just being out there more. Yeah, and the kind of hunting you're talking about, time was more critical. If you go places with high elk densities and high bull to cow ratios, time's still a factor, but not as much because you're getting the opportunities. But back then, in those places, and even now, I mean, it's hard hunting. Those are hard hunted elk. Yeah, and they go to places people don't go so much, and it's just time. I spent a lot of time at it. Mm-hmm. And that was and of course, effort. I mean, I didn't sit around camp. I didn't grow up, sitting around in a wall tent with a stove. I mean, slept in the back of my truck or under it if it was raining, stuff like that. It was just that overpowering desire just to go. Mm-hmm. And you got up and you put miles on, and eventually you earned a few opportunities. Yeah. I remember feeling back then, if I didn't kill an elk or hadn't got one killed yet, I just was like, couldn't even hardly live with myself. It was just like, this is all I care about. And when I can't get it done, there's some serious mental issues. It's like, I don't know. You put so much into it and it's so freaking hard. And I couldn't imagine a whole off season thinking about that I didn't get a kill and I have to wait 11 months to get out there and elk hunt again. Yeah. That was probably one of my biggest fears or phobias or whatever you want. Or I was afraid of that the most just because it meant so much. I mean. Yeah, well, it controlled your mind. It controlled my mind. I remember, like working the week before season was getting ready to start. It was just like, I had a hard time focusing. Oh, yeah. I was just like, this is at the time, now, of course, but now I think that was powerful to my mind because that was all I would think about. Yeah. And I'm like, there's not much else like that, works like that, just because the nature of the business I'm in, it really pays. It pays to pay attention. It pays to pay attention. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't. Reckless people don't. They get hurt. They don't last long. Yeah, it's no, being a lineman is definitely high stakes. But yeah, I'm same as you. It's like that week before. I'm not saying
didn't give a fuck about work, but I guess you could say that.
It wasn't. I mean, yeah, it just was. I'd say it was overpowering.
You're buying time, waiting to like when you could leave. Just when that Friday or whatever day you're leaving before season, it's like finally.
God. And if someone would have had approached me at that point in time with plans like, hey, you know, I'm getting married on this day or something like that, dude, I would have looked at them and been like, yeah.
Good luck.
I had a saying to people, I'd go, oh, dude, I'm getting married. You know, nah, I said, I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, I know. It's just your first.
Yeah.
We'll get the next one.
Catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, it's, you know, work's different though. Work's different than hunting. The focus part's intense in both, but the hunting thing, like I say, that was more out of my control. That was like more in my mind than work. Work was like you focused and you paid attention. You really think about it. You just, you know, you did what you were supposed to do, but it wasn't, you know, you'd go home and you weren't necessarily overwhelmed by that all the time. Hunting was different. Yeah. Hunting was just like overwhelmed. I just wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And it was, so. Was
it always elk? Was elk the number one driver?
Yeah.
Because I know you've hunted everything.
Yeah. I just wanted to go, man.
Didn't matter what?
No. You know, an elk was a big deal. Elk and deer were always a big thing. They always were. And so they took a front seat to everything else. But when I was a kid, we had some neighbors and they moved away. But they left, I don't know, there were like 5 boxes of Outdoor Lives from like the 60s and 70s. There were 100 magazines, had to be. I read them all of them. Mm-hmm. Jack O'Connor, all that stuff. And man, I'd look at those pictures and I'd read that stuff and I was just, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Those adventures, I mean, that imprinted on me. And I was like, oh my God. That was the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that's living. I'm like, living in the mountains.
Yeah, I was like, dang. But so yeah, it imprinted on me and I haven't had to think about it. I don't go, oh, hunting season's coming up. Oh, it's not like you're getting ready for Halloween or something. Right? It's just like,
well, just like today, I said, you know, Truett's coming in, we're going to take him deer hunting. I said, are you going to be able to go? And you're just like, oh, when is it? It doesn't matter. Then I didn't really answer. You said, it doesn't matter when it is, I'm going. Yeah. So that's pretty much, I've always, you know, because I don't rifle hunt, you don't rifle hunt. I mean, I guess you do a little bit, dabble in it, but I don't care. I'm not a rifle hunter, but any excuse I can get to go to take somebody. Mm-hmm. Somebody has a tag, somebody has this. So it's like I bought, you know, we hunt on it's kind of the Powers Ranch is kind of what we call it, but it's also a bunch of Weyerhaeuser land down there and timber company land. And so we have a pretty good setup down there to hunt. I think it's like 20-some thousand acres. I can't remember what the total is, but it's I bought 2 rifle hunts to be able to hunt that, and not for me, for anybody. I don't care. I just want to find somebody to go with. And this weekend happens to be Truett, and we're working on the other one. But yeah, it's like those are hunts that not for me, for somebody else, but I'll be there, and that's good enough. Yeah,
and I think it's just the going, right? Mm-hmm. This is what's in motion. This is my direction to do that. I think that's, to me nowadays, it's the same as whether I'm hunting. Mm-hmm. Now earlier you had to spend, because the opportunities were farther and fewer between for lots of reasons, you know. But I had to do all my time. I was extremely selfish. I mean, I hunted with my buddy Blake, but that's it. Mm-hmm. And it was go. Every man for himself. Mm-hmm. To be successful, because opportunities didn't come by very often. And when you found something good, you kept your mouth shut.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, but now, it's not that opportunities aren't good, but there's lots of other reasons. And I enjoy down there as much as anything, helping people and do that. And I realized, I was thinking on the way up here, I just got back from there.
I know.
Trying to kill a bear. But I was doing it with a rifle because my buddy Blake, who passed away a few years ago, it's his grandpa's hunting rifle. Mm-hmm. So I have it, and I was like,
you refurbished it, right?
No, it's
the same as he had it? Oh, okay.
Exact same.
Gotcha. And
I remember when he got it from his grandpa, we were checking it out, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to shoot some blacktails with it. I'm like, cool. And he did. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, now that I got it, I'm like, think I need to shoot something with this. So it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a deal. I don't care if I shoot a little blacktail buck or a bear or whatever, but
yeah, it's going to be with that.
Yeah, I'm going to make a point of that pretty much every year.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Blake. It's you know, hunting and having like a connection with you for somebody with Blake, and then me with Roy. It's pretty crazy that both of our best hunting buddies have died.
I know.
And you have a tattoo for Blake. I have one for Roy. Mm-hmm. And it's just that if people, you know, aren't hunters, it probably wouldn't make as much sense as it does make to us, to always have that their memory memorialized on our bodies. Right?
Yeah.
And I know Blake was, I mean, you guys did a ton of hunting together. Then he didn't. What did he die from? Was it cancer?
Brain cancer. Yeah. No, we were hunting buddies since high school, and it was just me and him. We didn't have it like there wasn't a group. It was me and him. Mm-hmm. We went all, you know, all over the West, because I don't know what in like 98 or 99 discovered the hunting fool, right?
Yeah,
and it opened up new worlds.
Yeah,
I mean there wasn't one piece of information out there like that. Mm-hmm. That was pioneering. And, you know, I don't have any opinions about this is good or that's bad. All I know is they put out information in a digestible format that mattered, right? Tags, how to get them, where to get them, reviews on units, how the draw systems work. You know, most people, they don't know modified preference point system, preference point, bonus points. They don't. We found out what all that meant and went, oh. It's
like the code. You deciphered the code to this because, I mean, when we first started, I know I never had money to be thinking about going to other states. It's like, you know, I'd hunt in Oregon. That's all my chips are in Oregon, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I think I hunted my first time hunting out of state was for elk was 2004. So I'd been bow hunting for 15 years before I ever went out of state.
Yeah.
And went to Wyoming, but it was, I mean, once those magazines came out, and then Eastman's had, I think it's the members research supplement.
Right. Similar.
And they had a similar thing. And then that's where like, wait, so you can hunt different states? Still people who don't understand it say, how many elk can you kill? It's like, well, how many elk have states? Or I mean, how many states have elk?
How many tags can you get?
How many tags can you get?
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, we're so used to killing one in Oregon, but then once we figured it out, it's like, well, wait, what if I could get a tag in multiple states and just go from hunt to hunt? So then that was like, it didn't seem real to be able to do that. That seemed like, no way. That's for people.
Blake and I nicknamed that. We call it the Western Swing.
Western Swing. Yeah.
Because we'd have a couple tags. You know, we both have Oregon tags. We'd have Idaho tags. Maybe I'd have Idaho and he'd have Wyoming and stuff. And it's like, we just went and all those, that's back to the magazine thing. That was my explore. Those were my adventures. Those were his adventures, right? We went and did and saw places. I mean, I'd never been in the mountains of Wyoming in September.
No.
Or Idaho, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's different, it's beautiful, and it's just like, oh man. And there's so many cool places. And we were kind of through hunting, and those were my adventures. Those were my Africa, those were my Alaska, those were all those adventures, you know. And it is back to your point, it is kind of strange that both our hunting buddies and best friends passed away, you know, different ways. But Blake was a stud.
Yeah.
It's, you know, 49, brain cancer. You know, we worked together. I was the best man at his wedding, godfather to one of his kids, and that is a trip.
Yeah,
it's just there's nothing that prepares you for that.
Well, Roy was 49 too.
Yeah,
I mean nowadays that's so young. You know, when we're young, 49 seems old.
I know,
and now we're well past 49, or I am.
Me too.
And then you think about that they both died at 49. It's like, man, you're just getting it figured out. We're just taking advantage of all these opportunities, you know, these hunts and this, you know, having a little more money and more time and you know,
exactly.
They're gone.
Yeah. And it's, and I really, I don't think I've hunted with anybody else. I can't think of. I mean, I go out with you and that's it. And I just got back from a trip from Colorado. by myself.
By yourself. Yeah.
And speaking of points, I had 20 antelope points. Because, I just built. I started building points.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
And you killed a nice buck.
I did kill a nice buck, yeah. And it was Colorado, when I build points for like that in those states, or some of those states, I'm looking down the road. I don't think about it. And eventually, I'll probably be able to get their best archery hunt, at will, so I can plan for it. I'll have the points. But since I'm busy all of September now, down there with Ron, it's like, well, what are my opportunities? It's like, well, October, rifle hunt antelope. So which happened. Yeah, no, I killed a nice buck. He'll go right at 80, I think.
It's a good buck.
Good go. But the one thing is, you build that many points, there's overrated hunts, right? Like my personal opinion, and I don't know, Oregon may hate me, but there's a lot of people. Antelope tags are limited in Oregon, as they are everywhere. But I ran into a guy. Anyways, the points needed to get certain tags can be overrated. Hunts can be not that good, but they're popular for some reason. Yeah. Right. But how good is the actual hunt?
Right.
I just talked to a guy coming home from Colorado, and he had a nice Utah bull in the back of his truck. And they had like 17 points in Utah, and got an outfitter and killed a nice bull.
You know what unit it was?
I don't.
Yeah.
He didn't say. And I didn't ask either. But he was. I told him, hey, I'm coming back from antelope hunting in Colorado, and he's like, oh, cool. He goes, I got 25 antelope points, and I said, I'll tell you what, dude. I go, if I had 25 antelope points in Oregon, I'll trade you for 10 points in Wyoming now, straight across. Maybe 8 points in Wyoming. Because it's different levels, and there really are. This hunt in Colorado ended up being a really, really good hunt.
Oh, good.
Yeah. There were lots and lots of antelope. So my hat's off to Colorado in that unit. There were lots of antelope. They were accessible. They weren't all on private land, which is something you got to be careful of too, drawing tags. Might be a great unit, but you can't access them.
Can't get to it.
If you can't get on private land. And there were quality antelope. I looked at a whole bunch of antelope, in the 70 to 75 range, 65 to 75, right?
And in Oregon, that's big. Those are huge.
Yeah, Oregon has produced some really, really big antelope. There's no doubt, but it's a numbers game with them.
Yeah.
With predator control and and other factors, of course. But I mean, a perfect story of that is a few years ago, my buddy had antelope tag. He had 18 points, rifle hunt. And I go, I'll go help you. And in Oregon, they're in August, or that was late August, early September. But that same year, me and him and his brother they wanted to go to Wyoming, and they had some points. So I go, well, I know some spots. I go. So we all put in. Wyoming averages your points.
Right.
So we all drew, and I go, I'll go with you. But I went and helped him on this Steens hunt, and it was like, dude, it wasn't good. I was like, like 3 days, I saw like 20 antelope.
Right.
And were there places in there that are probably better? Yes. Did we look at the whole unit? No. But overall, I'm like,
yeah.
So I told them, I go, listen, boys, I go, here's the deal. I go, when we go from Utah to Wyoming on I-80, I go, see a big sign that says, welcome to Wyoming. I go, in the first 10 miles off the highway, you will see more antelope and bigger bucks than we've seen this entire time.
Right.
In this deal. They're like, no way. And I told them, there's signs, start looking.
I know.
And they did. And they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I've killed some good bucks in Wyoming too. And it's just like, it used to be that if you put in for there was archery only tags,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
You were going to get it. And it was tough hunting, but it was way better than Oregon waiting 20 years.
Yeah. And I started in Oregon because I wanted to brand, elk, not like elk and deer were boring. I was doing that, but still those adventures and the more unique stuff like antelope.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I really like the places they live. I mean, I like big deserts. I do, but it seemed more adventurous. It's kind of a unique species. And I started in Oregon when you could, I think it was 100% draw for an antelope tag. And then, I branched out after that. Yeah. And I've hunted antelope almost every year for the last 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Between here and Idaho, you hunt a lot too.
Yeah. Idaho used to be over the counter. And they still to this day have unlimited draws, which is if you make it your first choice, you draw it for archery.
I see.
So I do that. And, but I like them. I like hunting them, and they just live in some crazy places.
They're cool animals too.
Yeah.
I mean, contrasting colors, striking in appearance, got that black on the head and the horns and just cool animals.
Yeah, and you can stalk them all day long.
Yeah.
That's the deal. If you blow a stock, you just go over there and look some more, and there's another one.
But if you
get
can,
that one.
if you can spawn stock and kill an antelope with a bow, that's not the easiest thing there is to do. It's definitely good practice.
There's a lot more stalking than killing.
God.
I don't know. I've crawled and laid in the middle of the, I don't know. Even when you're laying down, I don't think you're hiding from them. They still see you.
I think so.
They look over and they go, there's a dude laying there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. They're tough. They're tough to spawn stock. I just can't sit water. I hate sitting water.
I have.
Yeah.
I'm an opportunist, man. Whatever works best.
I hear you.
And finding really good, reliable water spots isn't always easy. So, I always keep that. I'm always trying to find that. And if I find it and it's good, I use it.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's like, well, there's one that's in a good spot. I think I can get there. And so it's just all day long. You stalk and
That's
move.
fun.
And it's not like mule deer where it's like, they went in the brush, got to wait 8 hours.
Come out at night.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, for sure. They're out there. I mean, they're usually visible. That's the cool thing about antelope.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was fun. But yeah, my hat's off to Colorado on that. That was 20 points and well worth it. I don't know how many points it took to guarantee it. It was probably up there. But I also wanted to I wanted to go, of course. I mean, in the travel, I went through 6 states getting there. I'm coming back. And
Yeah.
I drove a road that I'd never drove. One way I went that I've never gone before, kind of back roads I'll drive sometimes, smaller highways, because the interstate gets boring.
Right.
And so.
Just exploring, looking at new stuff.
Yeah, new stuff.
Yeah.
Daylight, Vernal, Utah, man. I woke up, I had my camper so I could pull over and sleep wherever.
Yeah.
And I just woke up, drove into town. It was, it's a beautiful place, beautiful sunrise, had a breakfast, and just kept driving.
Tough to beat that.
Pretty good. Had antelope tenderloin that night.
Awesome. That's living.
It is living.
Well, the first time I think we hunted together, wasn't it 2010
It was 2010, yeah.
Yeah. So people don't get it twisted. So we were hunting this bull called the ranch bull. And people, anytime you say that, people say, oh, you're hunting a high fence game ranch or whatever the fuck. No.
Did they see it on Google Earth?
Yeah, I know. People make all sorts of stupid assumptions. But anyway, it was called the ranch bull because this property there, people call it the Powers Ranch. It's just thousands of acres. But he was like the basically king shit on Turd Island there. And he was the ranch bull. He ran the show, basically.
Yeah. Well, it is the Powers Ranch, but it's not what people would envision.
No.
A lot of things aren't, I mean, it's coastal logging country. With some of that
There's
unique.
no high fence keeping elk in or out or anything like that.
And it's bordered on 2 sides by public land.
Yeah, national forest.
And BLM on one side.
Yeah.
And private timber company stuff and other.
And plenty of people are getting in there. I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, these elk, these are as wild as it gets. And I don't know, people, there aren't any unwild elk unless you're in a zoo.
Right.
Or, one of them weird places where they kill one that's 680 inches.
Yeah, that's usually high fence Idaho, I think.
That elk came from a place about as big as this studio.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's different, of course.
Right. The ranch bull wasn't, he was a tough one for us. I mean, because we're hunting basically one animal on, like I said, 20-some thousand acres.
Yeah.
And it's thick timber. It's, coast country. It's, there are some logging units, there's some meadows and some of that high prairie country is what we call it. But for the most part, those elk are sticking to the timber. And so I think it took us, man, I don't know. How many days were we down there?
It was 5. Well, we planned the whole week, I believe.
Yeah, so like 5 days. Finally, we're in, one of our favorite spots down there, midday, and heard a bugle. Hey guys, looking to take your wellness to the next level? Blokes can help you. They are a modern health optimization service for men that is devoted to your physical, sexual, and mental health. From the convenience of your home, Blokes helps you test your hormones, consult with a board-certified clinician about your results, and receive a personalized plan and treatment specifically for you. Bloke's mission is to optimize men from the inside out. Patients come to them feeling old, tired, overweight, and like things aren't what they used to be. Blokes wants to help get that pep back in their step. Blokes improves men's lives by optimizing their hormones, the most essential chemical messengers in the body. Blokes is going to send someone to my house to draw my blood. No appointment was required, and I'm really excited to be partnering with them so I can keep hammering for another day. They're offering you guys 20% off labs if you use code CAM at blokes.co/cam. And we're like trying to figure out which way it was. I remember I was pointing one way. Jody Sear was with us. He's pointing the other way. Maybe you were pointing both ways. I don't know. Yeah.
If that.
I'm not sure how it worked, but it was somewhere around noon or maybe even afternoon. We're waiting for the evening hunt. We're just, kind of chilling out, waiting for the elk to get active. And we heard this bull. So we thought, sounded like the ranch bull, because the night before, I think you and Jody saw him up on the skid road up on top, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. That's when Jody filmed him.
Tearing up the road.
And Jody was calling. I didn't call at him.
Yeah.
I saw him. I got down. Jody was behind me. We kind of came up the same spot. We didn't know each other there. Well, Jody called at him a little bit.
Yeah.
And was filming him. And that bull got pissed off.
Oh, God.
And he was mad. And I was watching this and I'm like, that's unique. That's interesting elk behavior. That's elk behavior of bulls that have a lot of competition and you see those big herds and multiple big bulls and they get busy.
Yeah.
And they're aggressive. They have to
very
be.
aggressive.
And he didn't have any of that. A couple satellite bulls around, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but nothing to challenge him.
No.
But he was still like that.
Yeah, he was just honoring.
He was not having it.
And
He didn't
giant
like it.
bodied. Oh my God, that thing was huge.
That's still the biggest. That's by far the biggest elk I've personally handled. Mm-hmm. You look at the girth of his chest, and you start cutting, and you lift a hind corner up. You're like, oh my.
Yeah, he was. I think 12 or 13 years old is what we were figuring.
Yeah, I think that's what Ron said, and he'd known him his whole life. He knew that bull, because he looks at those bulls all the time.
Yeah, he's out there. Ron's out there. He used to be in charge of, he's in charge of the land basically, as far as keeping track of everything, but he was also did all the logging there and a lot of the road building there for many years for the Powers family, and then the leases on the timber company land. But so he's out there basically all the time, lives in Powers, Oregon. It's like there's no place else to go. So you kind of go to the woods and scout around, check timber, check roads. And so he had seen this bull for years.
Yeah.
And that's where the name of the ranch bull came up. So we thought, well, there's this other guy, this big money governor hunt guy, bought an expensive tag to be able to hunt basically anywhere in Oregon from I think September 1st to December 1st.
Yeah. Any weapon, any open legal hunt.
Yep. And so basically he wanted to kill a giant Roosevelt. Some of these big money guys, Roosevelt is kind of one of the toughest ones. It's not one you can just throw money at. A lot of these other ones you can throw money at and get on these premium properties. But Roosevelt elk are usually not like that. So he wanted to kill a giant bull. And I know he went to a few different places, or talked to people hearing about how big of bulls they had.
Right.
Well, down in this country where the ranch bull was, there was another giant bull. And I can't remember what probably had a name.
I think Ron called him the 4200 bull.
Was that it?
I think so.
4200. Yeah, so that's just a logging road up there for the 4200.
It's a main line.
Yeah, so frickin' Warnock goes down there, and he's rifle hunting in September, which whatever, it's legal for that tag. Hey, good on him.
Yeah.
Took advantage of it, and he killed a big bull. Giant bull, was about 330.
Yeah, I think it was 330.
And you got to think, Boone and Crockett Roosevelt is 290. So right. 290 is like an all-time animal. And to get a bull 40 inches over that at 330 is just incredible.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest Roosevelt bulls you'll probably ever see. Well, he killed this, and we got down there, and he was leaving, and, we were cussing Warnock for killing a giant bull and during our bow season, and just mostly just talking shit.
It took years before I think it was kind of known that we were joking.
Yeah, we're totally joking
because we were joking. fuck Warnock.
I know, yeah.
And it was a joke. It was like, God, that guy got that bull. You know, like you said, good on him.
I know. Hey,
I mean,
he didn't
you
do
have
anything
the
wrong.
resources. You're after a certain thing.
I know.
If that allows you to do it, good on you, man.
No,
He wasn't breaking the law.
No.
He was doing exactly what I would do.
Me too. But that doesn't mean we can't talk shit about it.
That does not mean we can't make fun. And we will make fun of you.
And it was just good-hearted fun. But so our goal was like, you know, he got the 4,200 bull, but this ranch bull was still there.
Yeah, second up.
And to kill the ranch bull with a bow was like, we knew it was going to be tough. 5 days in, had that bull going. So we had a setup where, you know, we wanted to film. So Jody was on the camera. You were calling because, I want to hear about your passion for calling, but you're the best elk caller I've ever been around. So anyway, we thought, well, if we get this bull to come out of the timber out into this meadow, God, that'd be perfect footage, right? It's in the sun, bright sun. It's like going to be epic. And so we set up. Here, ranch bull comes in. He's all hyped up. But of course, like an old bull, he's not going to just walk into the open. We were just like, you know, you have in your head that, man, this would be perfect if it worked like this.
Right.
Those elk are like usually not interested in making good movies.
No.
So he stuck to the timber, and I had this little window to shoot through. And I thought I had a pretty good idea where where his shoulder was. And I thought, okay, I got it right behind the shoulder. Anyway, I hit high and back. It's like 35 yards. And long story short, we gave him a couple hours. I went in there, and we're sitting there thinking, okay, I think it's pretty good. So we'll get in there and, you know, see what happens, do this blood trail. So we had lunch, waited a couple hours, went back in there, and you're following blood, and you're just like, it's not looking great. And then we heard a bugle, and it sounded sort of, I'm like, it's not, there's no way that's a ranch bull. The ranch bull's dead up here. It's not going to be bugling.
Right.
It sounded kind of weak. But then the second time he bugled, we were just like, oh my God, that's a fucking ranch bull.
That's him.
Bugling.
Yeah.
And we're just like, what in the hell? So I just told you guys, I said, well, this is like my famous last words. Let me go clean this mess
up.
I'm good, you know. I'm good at cleaning up messes, but that's what happens if you make shitty shots, I guess.
Well, taking something's life isn't sterile.
No, it's I mean, it's going to be tough. You know, you got a wild animal, you got an arrow, and you're trying to kill that thing. Yeah. And it's over 1,000-pound animal. Yeah. It's, sometimes it's going to be perfect. Sometimes you're going to pinwheel them. They're going to go 50 yards, pile up.
Love it.
Sometimes
not so much.
That doesn't happen.
No. And it's just reality. We're weird people. We're weird creatures, man. I don't know why we don't always lay everything out on the table, but we don't. It's got to be some evolutionary advantage to that, right?
Yeah.
Just to be completely honest about everything. Mm-hmm. But we're not.
No.
And it's not like we're evil people.
No.
We just don't divulge everything about everything.
And you turn things into what you want,
you do.
Not reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, and on that one, we were finally faced with the facts that ranch bull is bugling.
Yeah, he's not dead.
He's definitely not dead. So I took my boots off, left you guys there, and I'm like snuck up there, and thank God got up to that skid road, and peeked out on the skid road, and there he was standing there quartering away looking at me. 25 yards, I draw back, lean over, and by that time I was just like, I just need to get an arrow in him. You quartering away is good because you can be like a few feet either way, and you're getting something. You're getting, guts to lung quartering away. That's a big target.
Something.
And so I've got one in, I'm quartering away, and it ended up catching up back up to him. I shot, I'm almost positive, every arrow in my quiver, but got him killed. Came back, classic footage. You guys had the camera. Jody had the camera set up recording. I was just like, you guys were like waiting for the report, and I walk up. I remember my zippers down on my pants because like this camera was just from it wasn't even my head. It was like from my bottom of my chest down, and I got no boots on. And I remember my zipper being down on this footage. I have the footage somewhere, but all I said was,
funny.
Ranch bull's dead, kids. And we were just like fucking just going crazy. So excited. Finally did it. And it worked. and he was a giant.
Yeah, that's I at the time, you know, what do you think? I was sitting just to myself. I was going, this ain't good.
No.
The odds are you're not going to kill that bull or get him. I mean, that's just, I play odds. I mean, what's the most likely thing to happen? And that wasn't likely, but you did it, and that's impressive. But yeah, no, that to kill one specific bull in that place or any other place, for the most part,
that's hard.
Is difficult.
Very hard.
There's a lot of things that go wrong.
And they can be a lot of different places.
Yeah.
I mean, you might never find them again. I mean, then that other big bull that we killed just a couple years ago, nobody had ever seen it.
No.
So they can just disappear or show up or, I mean, to earmark one bull in country like this where it's low fence, wild country, big country, coast range thick. I mean, the odds of like, I want to kill this one, I don't even know what the odds would be at that. I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I would say maybe 10% to get an opportunity. What would you think?
Yeah, they're not high.
No,
They're not high because it's a tough circumstance, and you know that's to pick one particular elk. What if you're going, okay, I'm going to shoot that one cow, and you could spray paint her.
Yeah,
I'm going to kill that one, and to get the opportunity to do that, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah,
to do that. You know?
Oh, yeah, so hard. Well, so ultimately, you called in the ranch bull, got an arrow in him, was a shitty shot, ended up getting him killed. But so where did calling fit into your elk hunting repertoire? Did you call from your first elk hunt, or did it kind of evolve to be a passion?
And I was thinking about that too, driving one of these deals.
I do a lot of thinking.
I had my own podcast. I have my own podcast all the time, but it's just in my head.
Right.
Sometimes I talk out loud and I look over and the trucker's looking at me like I'm nuts. But hey,
What's
whatever,
it called?
man.
What's the podcast called?
Me.
Yeah. What was that?
Stay in your lane.
There used to be something on Cinemax, like some late night Skinemax. I was just thinking, it reminded me of, God, I had the name of the show. But anyway, I think it'd be a good name for your show, whatever it was. But now I can't remember it.
Excellent.
But anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, so I don't know. I was thinking about that and I was like, how old was I? I think went to the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show, right?
Which one's that? In Eugene or
No,
Portland?
the one in Portland.
Okay, yeah.
Is that what it's called? Pacific
Something like
Northwest.
that. Yeah,
I believe it's the Pacific
something like
Northwest
that.
Sportsman Show. Yeah. Anyways, I go there. I couldn't drive, so I made my mom take me. Mm-hmm. And I think my little brother was with us too, but he was 8 years younger than I, so he was little. And I was like, I just wanted to go. I mean, that stuff she knew it too. She knew.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I just started going around. Well, Wayne Carlton was there, man in his own booth.
He's a legend.
A long time ago.
Cowboy hat on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the 80s.
Right.
And oh man, he couldn't. I feel bad now, but I mean, I didn't know. I wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
My mom had to come get me and take me away. He was really super nice, but I must have annoyed the shit out of him. But I wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
And I had a call, right? And I got one of his calls.
What were you doing?
I just thought it was such the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Were you talking to him or just
kind of
loitering?
I was probably just standing there like a dumbass.
You weren't humping his leg like a dog,
I was
were
full
you?
on loitering.
Yeah.
I'm sure he thought I was autistic or something. Man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Security was pretty laxed. So
Good for you. Good on you.
Yeah. And so but anyways,
Was he calling?
he was. He'd call, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I mean, I was like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
I go, that is it. So I had one of his calls, and I said, dude, I take it to school. I had one read. That's it. And I don't know. I got it.
Did you buy a tape to listen to know how to call?
No.
Because some people used to listen to those little cassette tapes, like Larry Jones had some of those.
I did have I do remember Larry Jones, just audio.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
I did
just
have
a
one of
cassette
those.
tape.
Yep, I
you
did.
put in your truck.
I did have one of those at one time, but mostly it was just on memory, you know, and what you'd hear. And so, yeah, I started, and the calls weren't, I mean, some people have a really tough time with the read, right? And I didn't. That it worked pretty good for me. I could make elk sounds like pretty quick. And then I practiced practiced all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Right.
And I think in 1994, I went to the RMEF show. And when you remember when they used to move around different cities?
Yeah.
It was in Denver.
Yeah.
So I flew there
Oh, nice.
just to
For the
do
elk
world
calling?
for the world champion elk calling
Yeah.
deal. Because a former world champion had an archery shop in Clackamas there. Dieter.
Okay. Oh, Dieter.
K-Bot, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
And Dieter was a really good caller, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, you're a really good caller. You need to go to that. So I go, okay. So I went and I got, but there were no division. Now this changed dramatically, of course. It's been a long time. But there was just like dudes and chicks, men and women. That's it.
No transgender.
It was binary.
Oh, so I wonder if you could have been the non-binary champion.
You might have tried back then.
Yeah.
You probably would have got beat up in Denver.
Well, now it's liberal. Denver's very liberal.
Not back then. Not in that room.
That room not so liberal.
Yeah, there are a lot of cowboy hats there. You might not. You might want to run. As opposed to walk out of it. But anyways, yeah, I got fourth place.
Did you?
And believe it or not, guess who was sitting there? Wayne Carlton.
Really? Was he a judge or?
No, he was just sitting in the audience.
Okay.
And being the Wayne Carlton stalker I was,
Yeah.
I went and sat with him. And he looks, I'll never forget, he looks over at me, he goes, you should have won that contest. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that's coming from that guy.
Yeah, that means something.
That means something. Mm-hmm. You know, and the other guys too. It's not like they were looking at me going, you can't win. But he goes, that's really cool. He goes, you were making some cool sounds. Mm. I actually got deducted for doing a sound that everybody does now. And of course, the guys, I don't know why it is, from the Southeast United States, you get hunter guys and they name stuff. Mm. You know, you ever notice that?
Like what?
They name things and procedures
Yeah.
and stuff. Like they just have unique names for stuff.
And they had it with elk calling. They had
look at the Primo stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which were, I mean, they were innovative calls.
Yeah.
They really were. I very seldom use anything but a reed, but I mean, you got Hot Lips, Hoochie Mama. Those are the kind of names I'm talking about. It's always those guys coming up with them.
Don't be talking shit about my cowgirl. You
The
know
cowgirl.
you love that call.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, my new one is fucking sweet, dude.
Is it better?
Can't be worse.
It kind of sounds like a fawn in distress. So I always think a bear or a coyote or something's going to run in.
Hey, whatever. A lion.
Yeah.
Hey, I got tags for everything.
I know.
Yeah,
That was an amazing lion hunt this year.
If you just call for an elk,
Yeah.
you're kind of limiting yourself. I call for everything. Deer, bear, lion, elk. You never know what's coming in.
That's tough logic to argue with. Can't beat that. Yeah, no. So I started calling, and I enjoyed calling, you know. And like I said, I could mimic the sounds. Well, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Other people thought it was good too.
So what did you do that you got deducted for?
I think they started calling it the lip ball, right? And I learned it from a guy who was kind of a pseudo inventor type guy, and I guess his background was in like music and stuff, right? Well, he's making these kind of trying to make these elk calls, and they were a thumb push button elk call. I think there's something similar new on the market with that right now, as a matter of fact. But he was making that, and I thought, oh, that's right. And he could make them sound pretty good. They weren't easy to use, but he would do this sound, and I'm like, I go, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm pursing my lips like a trumpet player. I'm like, oh.
With a reed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you purse your lips, and it's this buzzy deal. And I remember looking at my scorecard. I did that, and they call it the lip ball now, and it's pretty standard. A lot of people do it. It kind of mimics that screaming part of it.
Yeah.
You know, when there's more than just a high-pitched deal. They got some...
They get to the scream.
Oh,
those big bulls.
Well, it's a way, you know, to mimic that, you know, sounds pretty decent. And so I did that. I remember looking at two of my scorecards, and the judges wrote too buzzy and this stuff. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that was intentional.
It wasn't very many years later. If you did it, you had to do it, basically make that kind of sound in some fashion or another.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you probably weren't making enough sounds.
Yeah, because I mean, if you just do the 3-note bugle,
yeah,
you're not setting yourself apart. So they want a variety of sounds because you have to cow call too, right?
Yeah. Cow, calf, and then bull sounds, and they make a lot of sounds. I remember the first time, and I think It was in Vegas, I think in 2014. I met up with you there. And I hadn't been calling. That's the next time, right? I go, I need to get back into this calling stuff.
Yeah.
And give it another shot, right? You get busy with life and careers. And
Is that when we did that run? Did we do a run there?
we didn't do a run.
Oh, we didn't.
Not that time.
Huh.
But I had a bunch of Keep Hammering gear.
Yeah. I remember doing a run there. I was there for the Rocky Mountain Elk show, but maybe you just didn't go. But anyway, so how'd that one go?
Got fourth again.
Yeah.
But now there were men, professional division and men's and this and that. And so I did win the state. Oregon had one, Oregon state one, and I believe I won that one time. It was in Salem. But anyways, I wasn't consistent. It's not like I thought, I'm going to these, and I should have been. You know?
Like that wasn't your goal every day
It was not my goal.
World Elk Calling champion.
No.
Yeah.
And, you probably need to set that goal because there are some really outstanding callers out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember listening to Corey Jacobson for the first time, and I was like, well, in 94, his dad, Rocky Jacobson, won it. And I remember listening to him going, oh, boy.
Yeah.
I go,
Next level.
that's the next level. I just listened to those sounds he could make. I was like, okay, yeah, I can't do that. I'm not that good.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And Corey's just, boy, they can make sounds.
Yeah.
Good sounds. To me, I mean, that's our human interpretation of it.
Right. Hard to know what the elk are thinking.
Yeah,
But if they're convinced, I've seen elk be convinced on shitty calls too. It's a crazy thing, So it's like, we put our spin on it and what sounds good to us, but who knows what the hell these bulls are thinking.
Yeah, and I think it's probably more instinctual for them, I imagine. I mean,
I always say it's like if somebody knocks on the door, my dogs are going ape shit.
Right.
Every time. So it's like you make that sound and the animal they're just going to respond. It's just what they do. It's like, oh, this sound, I do this. And maybe not thinking about it too much. It's just a reaction. But
right. Yeah, no, I agree. But I always equate it back to, and I've heard you say it 100 times. People are like, well, you don't gotta be a good caller to kill elk. No, you don't actually.
Yeah.
There are times in those elk in the right situation, in the right place, at the right time, you could go in there and be a really crappy caller, make enough of an elk sound, and a bull will come in and you kill it. And I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
And I always equate it back to like turkey calling or duck calling or goose calling, right? Now they got tiny little brains, tiny, except everybody's fascinated with making the perfect duck call or the perfect goose call. Why? They have contests.
Yeah.
Why is that? They're stupid animals. They're stupid birds with a tiny little pea-sized brain.
Right.
Except we try to mimic them as closely as possible. So I'm thinking it must matter to some degree.
Yeah. And elk have, if your brain size, much bigger brain.
Much bigger brain.
Than a bird. Yeah. I think sometimes if they're super wound up, maybe not, but how often are they super wound up? Usually they're not fired up. Usually is somewhere in between.
Right.
And so maybe that quality of call makes a difference right there. Because if they're just seeing red, I'm not sure it matters.
Yeah.
You throw a cow call, calf call, half-ass bugle. If a bull's
your call,
my fucking
cowgirl would work on that one
and get ready.
Yeah.
But other than times like that, it's like I think your calls are so authentic sounding to me. I think it makes a difference. But I want to hear you do a call. Let's do something.
Okay.
Let's give the people what they want.
I got to leave now.
So tell me about what calls.
These are Phelps calls. So Jason Phelps, I've known Jason. I met him a long, long time ago. Saw him at a few calling contests. Really nice guy. Like I said, we're not close friends, but I've met him. I know him. We've hung around. Really nice guy. And
I'm happy for his success. I think he's sold his business, kicking ass. I think he's part of Meat Eater now or something.
I think they bought the call company. So, but yeah, I believe he still runs it and stuff. But anyways, really nice guy, and he really made some fantastic calls. He actually at one point made a couple competition calls for me because the stretches and kinds of latex and the tighter stretches and thicknesses of latex, like I rarely use a single reed call. I push too hard on it, I'll break it.
Yeah.
And I just use a lot of
With your tongue. Yeah.
Yeah, I use a lot of tongue pressure. And so usually a triple reed call I would. But it limits you in the range of sounds you can make, but it was durable and it made the lower end stuff easier to do.
The growls.
Yeah, and cow calls and calf calls.
Okay.
Because they're on a lower, they're not that high pitched stuff. You know, they kind of start out that way, but there's a low part to that,
Right.
and a drop off. And that, for me, anyways, that's way harder to do with the light latex, especially if it's tight stretch, light, single reed type deal. It's just easier for me to do. And he messed with the sizes of the frames, you know, because everybody's got a different palate width. Mine's narrow. And another reason I used Wayne Carlin's calls for so long is they were an aluminum horseshoe frame. And so I could bend it.
Right.
So I
to
bent
fit your
it,
mouth.
and I get a really tight seal up in there, which is critical. Yeah. And so a fiberglass, something like that didn't work for me. So I could bend it, but that bending also changed the stretch of the latex. So I learned on really like loose kind of latex because I'd bend and I'd trim my calls because they didn't fit. The skirt would be big. And so I'd have to trim that with scissors till I got a really good fit. Anyways, it's all nerding out on call stuff, but Jason, he makes good calls, and he makes a medium frame. It's narrow, it fits me better. I don't have to bend anything. The pallet deal, I don't need that. Some people that helps them
get it metal there.
It is metal, yeah. It makes it kind of helps people get that seal up in there. I never had a problem doing that. I mean, but you have to have it, and that kind of helps. So, but they make good. This call, of course, probably used for 2 years now, and after season, I put them in there, and they don't come out till the next season. But it's kind of grody. But anyway, but that low part, that's hard to do with the other deal.
That sounds good.
So yeah, I mean, and the rest of the range of all those other sounds, that's just trying to mimic what they do, and there are the high notes. I think a lot of people make really realistic high notes. I mean, they sound good out of a lot of calls. The chuckling, that's hard for some people.
That yours sounds so realistic to me.
The chuckles that's a game. There's a certain
I can tell a hunter or a bull based on that. The high stuff I can't fucking tell the difference.
I know.
But you get to that low and I'm like immediately hunter.
Yeah,
but with you, it's fucking it's tough, dude.
The chuckles are there. That kind of sets people apart. Is being able to. I don't know exactly how I mimic those chuckles, but it sounds like they sound to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
me
okay.
Too.
And there's some people like Dirk Durham, multi-time world champion in the men's division. Yes, I took fourth place to him twice. Then I quit going, but he's got a chuckle. It's just fantastic, and there's just something to that. But I'm with you. Yeah, people will do a chuckle and they can't get the right tones and stuff out of that, and the cadence.
Yeah,
sometimes, and it's with an external call, it's really super hard to do.
Usually the cadence is too quick. Hunters do it too quick, is what I notice.
Yeah, you hear that high, you're like, that's a bull, and then you hear that.
Yeah, then you're like, oh god, freaking dipshits.
That's a dude.
Yeah,
and you're like, there's been a couple times that I have been fooled a little bit. Yeah. I wasn't sure. I'm always doubtful though.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's a bull. That's like the whole smoked him, killed him, dead.
Yeah, perfect shot.
Perfect shot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of animals that never get recovered that were a perfect shot.
Yeah,
or a long time not a perfect shot. The rule is you got to touch them. Until you touch it, it's not a perfect shot.
Even like this year, we had some bulls going, but then I heard the bugle across the way, and there's a bugle, and I'm like, and then 30 seconds later, another bugle, same spot. I'm like, fucking hunters. Yeah. Just people get so amped up when they do call.
Yeah.
You should call and then nothing for a while.
Agreed.
And then, but people, like, once they start calling, it's an onslaught. And because people just want to call, because they figure that the more you call, the the quicker this bull is going to get in, the quicker I'm going to achieve my dream and get this thing on the ground. So it's like, it's almost like this isn't going to happen until I call. And so the more I call, I'm increasing it, or just excited or something. But yeah, I can tell a hunter because too much calling.
Yeah, sometimes, absolutely. I mean, I think it's an urgency, right? Mm-hmm. You're like there, you're set up. Okay, here we go. I'm doing this thing, I'm calling, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And that's no dopamine hit.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
No.
And so your urgency, like, oh, he's got to answer. And so they call more. And there are times to call a lot. Mm-hmm. But you know me, I'm pretty reserved with my calling.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember a lot of times we were hunting, you're like, hey, dude, let's go. And I'm like, no, okay.
I'm like, give her a whistle.
Yeah. Let's try it. And because I'm just reserved. And down there too, at Powers, a lot of times those bulls aren't that vocal.
No. I mean, Roosevelt's in general, I think that's kind of a rule of thumb, as people know they're not quite as vocal as Rockies.
Yeah.
There's times when they are going ape shit, but it's not super often, for sure.
No, I haven't heard them, 13 years have been going down there, and I haven't heard it it's not something like a New Mexico, Arizona.
No.
Or stuff, I've, in other places where, there's times, back to the whole calling deal. I mean, if you get into enough elk and enough bulls bugling and all that stuff, it doesn't matter if you bugle or not. They don't care.
Yeah.
You're just one more bull.
Yeah.
And
well, that's where, like, I know you love to call, and you know me. I just love to kill.
You want to stalk them.
Well, I don't care, but I just want to kill. And I'm just like, hey, whatever I got to do. And not most of the time, but I don't know how many, I'm not sure. We've killed a lot of bulls together. And
you've stalked more than we've called in.
Yeah.
Now, calling's been involved, like that one we hit up, middle of the day. Time was ticking, and I could tell you were urgent. You were like, dude, we can't just, we got to do something. Mm-hmm. We're going out, and we're.
Yeah. Got a response. So
and left.
And he came back and stalked down there and killed, and then I killed him with no calling. But we located him with your middle of the day bugle.
Yeah.
But
a shot.
I'm just like, calling him in is awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to see a big bull coming in just slobbering and going ape shit? But I'm just like, if I can sneak in there and they'll never know I'm there, that works too.
Yeah.
So,
and there's only a little bit of the year where it's an effective thing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's just only so many times, and at times, and if done correctly, it can be extreme effective as anything else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so the odds are in your favor. But then again, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I don't always want, because they're staring at you. Once you call, they know.
They're dialed in.
They know exactly where you're at.
Right where that sound came from.
And you just put them on alert.
Yeah. It's just like if there's something, if you're in your house and something falls in one of the rooms, you know what room that was.
You know exactly what, and probably what fell.
And what fell, right. So the bulls are no different. They hear something, they know exactly where that came from.
From a long way.
So they're walking in going, right there. And then when you move or they see a human silhouette, game over.
Yeah.
So I'm always hesitant about drawing attention to where I am. Now, if you have a caller, like if you're there and I can be off on the side or something like that, then that's obviously ideal. There's a theory called the triangle theory, where you got the bull coming in, then you're making a triangle between the caller and the shooter. You pull the bull right past the shooter to the caller, and then you get the broadside shot.
Yeah.
Looks good on paper.
Yeah.
A lot of times those bulls want to circle downwind, and so if you haven't, taken that into account, but when you do the cow and calf call, so do you have, is there logic in there, or are you just mixing them up, just different cow and calf sounds?
Yeah. The only time I have a set sequence during the calling contest, and I haven't been to those in years, but whatever. During those, because I saw how good those guys were and how polished they were, I would practice for those. I went, whoa, these guys are good, and they're consistent, and and they had routines.
Yeah.
And because a minute on stage goes by pretty freaking quick.
Yeah.
It seems like. So I was like, oh boy, I need to step it up, and I need to have a routine, and to cover X, and Y, I need to make those sounds. Out hunting, I mean, do I specifically think about a call? Like sometimes just like doing a calf call, because calf calls are pretty distinctive. They're only, how old are they? 4 months old?
Yeah.
when we're there in September hunting, calves are 4 months old. They've got a unique call. They can be super vocal. Well, like those 3 calves we had run in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here they come, all 3 on a dead run. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a real, so I'll think about just doing a calf call sometimes, but mostly it's just it's mix it in.
A variety.
You want
to sound like a herd.
Yeah. Or, because that's what they sound like. But back to your point real quick about, calling too much and stuff. Yeah, that's a strategy. I mean, that's something I do a lot. It's like, okay, you hear a guy, you hear a call, you hear a call, you hear a call, and you're like, the cadence of that and the timing of that. So I go, what do elk do? I go, a lot of times, you hear a bull, and we spend the next 15 minutes arguing or discussing or doing that, trying to figure out where it was. Well, he shut up for 15 minutes, or we didn't hear him.
Right.
And so it's like, why don't I call and shut up for 15 minutes?
Yeah, that's where humans, they don't do that, because it's not, a bull, it's natural for them.
Yeah.
We're mimicking something that's not natural.
And we want it to happen now.
Yeah. So that's where we're way over anxious.
So just like a single cow call or just a quick chuckle or something, and then nothing.
That's what's hard. I mean, when I cow call, it's usually 3. And I don't know why.
I know.
Because it's like 2 is like, maybe just need one more out there.
I think we think the last one's going to be the best one.
I don't know. But I think the key, if you could just do 1 and shut the fuck up, that would be
hard. Dude, you know what I do?
So hard.
I set a timer on my phone. If I'm playing that game, right?
Yeah.
If I'm playing that slow game and not knowing and all that stuff, I mean, I call and then I set a timer because to teach myself, and I did it before, it was hard, but to teach myself, what's sitting there for 10 minutes, thinking about stuff and not hearing what you want to hear really looks like.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it seems like 2 hours.
Oh, dude, it's been 6 minutes. Crap.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just, so it's that patient or just doing something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like I say, I'm sure there's guys that do it. There's no doubt. There's people that do everything. But I don't know how many times, you hear an elk call, a cow call or something, and then nothing for a while. You're just like, well, you're having the big what? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, should we walk down? I don't know. Which way is the wind blowing? And all this stuff. And it's like, well, why don't I do that?
Yeah.
So
because they're calling for a reason.
Yeah,
they're trying to communicate. They're not just making calls just to hear themselves.
No. Yeah. The communication by them. I mean, the bulls were bugling this morning.
Yeah.
Still, they were squeaking and doing this stuff when we were bear hunting, and I was just like, they're still going a little bit. Not nothing raging.
Right.
And but yeah, there's nothing that I do that's like, I don't have a routine or a specific thing,
right.
But I do specifically try different stuff on bulls, right? Like sometimes I'll just grunt. Sometimes I'll just, no chuckles, and I'll just scream.
Is it just by feel or just by listening to them or just taking a chance?
It's throwing something against the wall, see if it sticks. Yeah, that's all it is. And
so do you bugle with that one, same reed?
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear that fucker.
It's going to kind of, no tube, but tubes make a big difference, by the way.
They do.
Huge,
they do.
But
I think the audio is going to pick it up okay in this room.
Yeah, I think there's a mic under here.
Yeah.
There's a mic on my sock. But so I'll just do some grunts without a tube.
Okay. Yeah, see, so those last few grunts where he had the little squeal in with the grunt, that's so good.
Yeah, they do both.
Yeah.
Like a bull, you'll hear that.
Yeah.
And they're all mixing it all in together, right?
Right.
And it's like, but you're hearing different sounds.
Yeah.
And they do it. I mean, I just rewatched that video they had of that 5x6 we called in right after those 3 little calves come running in.
Yeah.
And we kind of scrambled for a setup. And I called at him, and he came, and he did that exact thing. He had a bugle, and then he did that chuckle, and there was a high-pitched part of that chuckle. And there's a note in there on just one of the chuckles. And then it tails off. I don't know. I kind of noticed little things like that, and I go, that's pretty cool.
Try to implement that.
Yeah. But I think it's just a variety, just trying a variety of things, see what happens. If they're just barely, well, you might want to not go charging in with the stick, screaming and this and that. Maybe. I mean, might work.
A lot of times they're like from the bed bugling a little bit, and you can tell that it's just like a quieter, more subdued bugle, and then you can tell when they're freaking amped up too and just screaming. Yeah. And sometimes, I did say hunters call too much because it's too frequent, but on the same token, I've heard bulls nonstop,
Absolutely.
just going crazy themselves.
And if there, to that point, there's a lot. You watch a lot of videos, and of course, there's tons of footage of people calling an elk and this and that, and pretty standard to have a caller you're trying to call an elk past. Keep them focused on that because, we talked about, a bull at a couple 100 yards know exactly where you're at. And when he gets to that point, he can see that. He knows exactly what should be standing there. Mm-hmm. But if the collar's back behind, well, he may see something, but you'll see it. When you watch those, I watch the elk.
Yeah.
When those guys are calling elk in, and there is a certain amount of calling that is like kind of imperative because that bull will start doing this, right?
Yeah.
Start looking around, and then all of a sudden, poof.
Yeah.
Go get him.
You
and
got
he'll
to give
keep
him
coming.
something.
So they keep after it, and they keep that bull kind of focused because he may call up and block on something, didn't like it, or something's up. Hear the cow call. But he looks back there. That's scary. But that's a cow. That's scary. That's a cow. So there is. I mean, that amount of calling is sometimes required because if they may get bored or they may not like the situation or they go, I don't hear. I can't. They already know you've got the win. They know that part. They know one sense is missing.
Right.
And that always puts them on high alert too.
I think but yeah, they are. It's not like they're freaking, what would I want to say? I mean, they're animals, so it's not like they're super intellectual, right? So they can think, well, I see something there, but then, like you said, you make the call and then they're back on the collar, and they'll like kind of weigh out, because they're big, aggressive animals. If they see some guy on their knees and it's a little bit out of place, but it's something small,
right?
And they're 1,000 pounds, and then they hear this call right past this thing they're not sure about, you can distract them again and give them just that encouragement. Fuck that guy sitting, kneeling down that you're not sure about. You're on a mission, because if they're coming in and they're charging in, they're on a mission to go and solve this problem. Whether it's another bull or if it's a cow, they're going to go and figure out why are you in my area, or I'm taking this cow back to my herd. And they could like ignore what could be a red flag by whatever, but if you're looking small and you're not moving a lot, they can be, their emotions can get the best of them.
Yeah, and they can be persuaded by those calls,
exactly.
And in certain cases, like I say, I've seen a ton of content on people, and I've noticed that a ton. I'm like, if those guys weren't calling as much as they were, I think that bull would have left.
Yeah, you got to keep them coming.
But they kept on him. But that's situational. And if you're the caller and you can't see this happening, it's really hard to judge them.
Well, but then also there's that fine line where sometimes you have to separate yourself from the hunter, and you have to go over the hill. Yeah. Because if the bull comes in and he knows he should be able to see down there and doesn't see anything, he should be able to see whatever's calling. But all of a sudden you could go down into the cut, or you could go wherever where it's just out of sight, then that could be enough to pull. But then you can't read the bull because you can't see him because you're over the hill. So it's that's
the hardest part, is if you're back far enough calling and you can't see them or kind of judge them when they're finally inside. But using the terrain is probably one of your biggest advantages. Yeah. Because if it's wide open like that bull where he stopped, that 5x6, he stopped as soon as he got to
should be able to see something.
He stopped as soon as he had to. And interesting. But if there was a hill there or a little draw. Yeah. Well, now an elk count sound coming from that draw, to me, that's perfectly natural to them, that they couldn't see a cow down in there. I mean, they know that. Yeah. They go,
they know they got to get to the lip of that hill.
They know they got to look over. Yeah. Just like they know they got to go to a creek to drink out of it. Yeah. Right. It's instinctive stuff. So using that kind of terrain and those setups is it's one of your most important tools. Yeah. Because they will stop when they can and know exactly what they're looking at and what they should be seeing. Is there and there's a spectrum of the behaviors that happen besides that. There's the ones that don't care and run in to a duck call and get shot, sure. Yeah. Or there's the ones that don't even come in. I mean, it's an interesting little game and dance, but not being able to see the elk. Yeah. it's hard. But I figured you always start out that way too. You hardly ever see them when you start out either.
Right.
So but I just go with my guts, whatever sounds right.
And we had a hard time this year down there. It's crazy. We got a lot of country to hunt, but there is a fence line. And those elk were just on the wrong side of all the area we could hunt, that one property line, for whatever reason, those bulls, just too many acorns. I don't know what it was. They just had the feed over there, and there's nothing we could do to get. We had a big bull we were trying to get, or actually two good bulls that we wanted to get over on our side, and just never happened. Pretty frustrating.
No,
Did that bull ever come? Because I took off to Arizona, and there's two other hunters down there when you were there, right? Or was it three?
There were 3 total plus you.
Yeah.
So we were that. Yeah. Well, then like you said, you wanted to hunt that big bull, that big old mature bull, and he just, the circumstances dictate. Like you say, there are boundaries.
Yeah.
It's not unlimited.
No.
And that was a hard line boundary right there, and it always has been.
I know.
And it's a big bull. They're still, dude. I was glassing elk there last night.
Yeah.
They're still out there. There's a ton of them, but they also moved down to where they're accessible now. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. They've been
where we could hunt them?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They've been down in there too.
Yeah. Well,
so
season's over now.
And plus, like I say, there was a bunch of bulls that I didn't see all archery season that I was glassing the last day and a half. And it's just like, I haven't seen that one. I don't know where they came from. It's like, whatever.
They showed up late this year.
Like we were saying, it's a good thing that the season was later than it's ever been that I remember.
I've never had it go into October.
No.
And we needed pretty much every day to get, I killed that bull last day of September down there.
Right.
And we had drama. I don't think the drama part's not going to make the film just because we didn't even get it, but I'll just say here is, had a good opportunity at a good bull, and I think it was a quiet morning, and it was just kind of you learn lessons all the time. You never get this shit figured out, right? No. So I had a shot at a nice bull. Me, you, and Tanner were all together. Quiet morning, maybe some popping and things. He kind of knew something was in our direction. Waited him out. He was by himself. Finally, I got a shot, and everything felt good, and I hit high on him. And, one of these things where I've seen a lot of people, not a lot, but I've seen people make shitty shots, and everybody turns it into, well, I think he's going to be okay. I don't think that's going to kill him.
It's hard to know.
You don't really ever know. But on this one, I knew I hit him, had blood, and it just was not a fatal hit type acting bull, because we had blood for probably 50 yards, and then the last blood I found was 300 yards straight up the hill. A freaking steep hill, and I found one drop up there, and we're like, well, it's not acting like a hard hit bull, right? And but you never know. So
you'd never truly know.
Spent a few days trying to resolve that issue. Could never find him again. Ended up going to Arizona, killing a bull, coming back, and as fate would have it, you spotted that herd up at we were hunting down where that big 6-point was, where we were trying to kill. And then you spotted elk, I guess it's at least a mile away, but up on the high unit up there by the rock pit.
Right.
And we're like, well, that one, you could see there's a handful of elk and then one really big light colored one.
Yeah.
And we're like, it's got to be a bull to the left. Yeah. Just he looked bigger and he was lighter colored. Anyway, long story short, the film will show it, but we got up there, ended up, sorry to say, stalked him. So
I know, man. So much for my calling.
Yeah. So we took what the opportunity gave us and made this big stalk down through the unit. Popped up over in a perfect position for a stalk. Popped up over on the logging road. And then I just had to work around like this cut bank. And then it was, long bow shot, but felt good about it and smoked this bull, right?
Now you got him.
and breaking him down, and I saw this mark, and it didn't look like a fresh wound.
Well, you saw it on his hide,
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and you said, "Hey, look at that." And I go, "Huh?" And I just instantly dismissed it because
it didn't look like a fresh.
it did look like he got poked by another bull or a stick or something somewhere. It's like, huh?
I mean, these arrows that I shoot, isn't expandable. It opens 2.75 inches a cut.
That's pretty wide.
That's a big hole, right? When I saw this mark on him, and same with you, I'm just like, oh man, it's in the spot, I think. We think that the bull dropped on my shot because he was kind of dialed in on us.
Yeah.
So we think he dropped. Normally those bulls don't jump the string. But on a quiet morning, hearing something, being alerted, and then we think he dropped a little bit because I know when I have of course I can make mistakes like anybody, but I know when the shot felt good and the shot felt good.
Right.
And Tanner had it on film, and it looked like perfect technique. Didn't look like a whatever on that. So anyway, we get to this bull, and we're like, I was thinking, man, that mark it's in the right spot, but it doesn't look fresh, right?
See, I didn't think it was that high. After you'd shot, I had my glasses on that bull.
Yeah.
And even though we unfortunately didn't catch that exact second of him running through that opening, I mean, like I told you when you said, "What do you?" Dude, it's high.
Yeah.
It looked high to me, but it didn't look as high as that wound, which didn't look fresh either. So, like I say, I just dismissed it and go, "Nah, it can't be."
Yeah.
There's no way. But hey,
Turns out we got to breaking that bull down, and my freaking broadhead was stuck,
and its backbone.
I know, in the spine. And it's like, he was 100% fine, had a herd, doing bull stuff. No, it didn't look like and so this was like 2.5 weeks later, I think, from when I hit it. And he was 100%, barely even a mark on his hide, but had an arrow, broke off, but it was stuck in his spine. I can't even explain it. And he was good to go.
I'd never seen nothing like it.
Yeah, so I don't think we even fit. We were just kind of so caught up in the moment about breaking this bull down and getting the meat taken care of. And, I made a good shot, and he went, whatever, he went 100, maybe a little over 100 yards, and died quickly. So we were all good, kind of not even really thinking about, let's check out this. And then we're cutting, and it's like, there's a sliver of carbon.
Of arrow. And it's like,
yeah, it's like, well, no, I hit him. Perfect here. Why would there carbon be up here by his spine?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was missing, dude. It wasn't doing this. I was
not
like,
connecting. And then there's like, wait a second, and freaking broadhead's still in there. Crazy. I mean, it's there's a couple different ways you could look at this. Like, should you not share stories like that because you don't want people thinking that a bow is an inferior weapon? Because on the shot that I killed him with, he was, dead quick in seconds, right?
I can't believe he was. I was a couple 100 yards away.
Yeah.
And as soon as you shot, I started calling. And I saw the exit, right?
It looked perfect.
And I saw the blood. I saw the exit with my own eyes, and I go, okay, that's a really good shot. I can't believe he walked as far as he did.
I know. They're just so hardy.
Yeah. And that's probably a testament to the time of year, the rut. Hearing those calls, it'd stop and he'd look.
Yeah.
Oh, what? And then, but it was an excellent shot, and I was surprised he made it that far. But so it's like I don't want people to think that an arrow won't do it, but also it's reassuring in that it's different than with a rifle. With a rifle, it's causing so much damage. I don't know if a bull could recover from that and be healthy. Right.
Whereas an arrow, it's clean. It's a hemorrhage which will seal up and heal. It's not a rifle shot blowing shit apart, which you may or may not recover. Hopefully you do. Nobody wants to lose an animal. But with this arrow, it's a pretty good. It makes me feel good that a perfect shot is going to kill it. You're going to recover it. A less than perfect shot, maybe the animal's going to survive. And what I always say is, if the animal's going to die, I'm going to find it. I'm not losing it. If it's going to die, I will find it. If it's not going to die, who knows, right? And so this bull obviously was not going to die. We didn't get him until 2 weeks later and got him killed. But it's like, you could say, it's how you look at it. You could say, well, an arrow's ineffective. It's like, well, no, because that I've seen them pile up in 50 yards, so it's not ineffective.
No.
It just has to be well placed.
Yeah.
And if it's not, maybe that animal, if it's not through the guts or through an organ, chances are it's going to heal up and be fine with an arrow.
There's a chance.
And this was a perfect testament to that.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we could get someone to test that out. Shoot yourself with a gun in your hand, and then with the other hand, we'll shoot you with an arrow.
Right. See
which one's worse.
I'll go with the arrow.
I'd go with the arrow
because
too.
you know it's going to heal up, where a gun is just going to blow shit apart. And I'm not trying to make it a archery versus rifle type
not
thing,
at all.
because hunting is imperfect.
It is.
Killing anything. Anytime you're trying to kill an animal, sometimes it's going to be textbook. Sometimes it's going to be a shit show. A lot of times it's going to be somewhere in between.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, like I say, I don't know there's a lot of factors. I don't know the course of action. People are like, well, it's none of people's business whether I shot and lost one or made a bad hit and this and that. And you're like, essentially, it's like, yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. You are right. It is none of people's business, and it happens, and it is kind of a personal thing. But if you're going to talk about the stories and the stuff, you might want to include what's real.
Yeah.
I say lay most of it out on the table and let people figure it out.
Yeah.
Let them decide, because that pisses me off. And we're kind of in that state of media right now, where you don't know what's true. They're dancing around the edges of the truth. They're massaging words. They're playing word games. And it's like, that pisses people off.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
when they find out that they're being jerked off like that, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
But with this is a little different. I mean, this is a personal endeavor. This is hunting. This isn't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's worth talking about. I'll tell people about the ones. And I won't go out and tell everybody, oh yeah, I lost one, shot one. Yeah. But if we're talking about it, I'll tell them this is what happened.
Right.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
And I never feel ashamed about talking about what is real, whether it benefits me or not.
No, I know. I mean, I've just been thinking about that ever since we weren't filming all that, because we were done filming. We're breaking the bull down. You know what I mean? So
way to go, Tanner.
and maybe it's like, it's so hard to make these films, and it's like, telling the story, how's the story going to go? How much time do we have? Because it's like, if you're talking about, well, I hit this bull 2.5 weeks before, there's like, well, how does this fit in the story? So it's just like, whatever. All I'm just saying is like, it won't. We weren't filming it, and we never even talked about it on film. It's just kind of like, got the kill, bull's dead. Oh,
it wasn't the point of the story.
It wasn't the point. But what I feel good about is that part of the story is resolved, because it's like, you never really know. You can say it was a superficial wound, bull's going to be okay. But until you see that bull okay, who knows?
You don't really know.
And so I just feel good that we got that chapter closed. Yes, something happened on the first shot. Maybe I fucked up. Maybe the bull dropped. Whatever the case, all I know is that chapter's closed because we got the same bull killed.
Yeah, and the odds of that, like I say, that was never the purpose. It was never in our minds. I mean, by the amount of blood you mentioned, like we had blood, that wasn't good blood.
No.
I mean, there was not shit.
No.
But it was like, and then that last spot you found, it was like, okay, that's a different ballgame. That's an elk that's going a long ways.
Yeah, and my approach to that is, if I shoot something and I think it's going to die, that's probably going to be, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm done. And I'm not trying to be, turning a gut shot into like, oh, I think he's going to be okay just so I can keep hunting. I'm pretty honest about.
Sure.
I feel if I look at everything, and if I got the arrow, if I got the blood, and if I can see what the animal's doing, I can make a pretty accurate assessment on, is this fatal or not?
Right.
And on that one, we all decided not fatal. And of course it wasn't until I shot him again. But it's like, I think that's part of hunting. You got to be able to look objectively. If you got an arrow in an animal, there's no law that says you got to quit hunting and that's your animal. But ethically, And
there's no law you got to tell people about it either.
No, you don't.
I mean, it's a personal thing. And are some people gonna, because of their ego or whatever, you try to hide it and this, that, or maybe they have something tied. Maybe they got skin in a game.
Yeah.
And a bad shot and that being revealed is bad for them. Man, there's lots of circumstances. Who knows? Whatever. But like you said, the most important thing is like trying to best you can to determine, is that a fatal hit or not?
Yeah. That's all I care about.
If we, you punch one through his guts and we can prove that, it's like, that's a fatal hit. It's going to die.
It's going to die.
Nothing survives a shot through the guts. I mean, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
But things don't survive that.
Yeah.
People don't survive that.
Right.
It's just, it's a devastating, crappy shot. And like I say, it hurts people. It hurts, at different levels. It hurts your ego. It kind of makes, it drags down what is otherwise, a passion. Just makes you question all of it going, God damn,
I know.
Man.
Especially when it means as much to you as like this means to us. It's like elk hunting is everything. Elk hunting, Oregon's everything. And like having so much respect for these animals and working so hard and then thinking you screwed up. Yeah. There's nothing hurts worse.
No, I don't. You don't shoot your bow that much. I don't shoot my bow that much. Make your arrows and broadheads and all this stuff. We don't do that to go make a shitty shot.
No. Do it to be perfect. Make perfect shots.
To hedge your bet that you won't make that shot. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, it's reality. And I don't mind talking about real stuff. And I wish, if anything, if it encourages people, if they learn something from it, like right there, we learned that lesson. I looked at that shot and we never knew. Now, I was there after you left, and when you got back, and I kept looking. Yeah. I mean, I took a few little walks, and you'll see birds eventually, maybe, or something, and I kept paying attention, and I never saw nothing. And I'm like, huh. But if people can learn and just don't let that overshadow everything, I mean, it's an imperfect world. We're imperfect beings. You're not going to be perfect. Just try really hard. Yeah. Now, if you're irresponsible, that's different. Yeah. That's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same.
And if irresponsible people want to just chalk it up, well, it's just because we're not perfect. Well, that's not right. Yeah, it's you're irresponsible.
I heard a story on now. I'm not even going to turn it into much. Okay. Whatever. It's like I'm just trying to be honest about me. I can't really speak for anybody else. So, so never mind that part.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rule like you said that you got to tell anybody or even got to quit hunting. If you don't find an animal or something, there's nothing. But it's maybe. If someone feels comfortable talking about it and other people can learn from that and go, oh, okay, maybe if it's this shot, maybe I should think this, or if it's that, I should think that. And don't be ashamed of it. Yeah, it sucks, but you got to face up to it. Yeah. And you know what? You can tell no one, but you still know.
Yeah. You can't lie to yourself.
You cannot lie to the man in the mirror, man. Yeah. And maybe, and I don't know, like I say, you don't got to run around telling everybody all your mistakes and your weak points and your failures, but fessing up to them sometimes is liberating.
Yeah, it is. And it's like if I've learned a lot from other people, so if somebody can learn something from us talking about this, then that's a win for everyone. It was a good ending, but in between there was, man, a lot of, I don't know. It's just.
It cast a little shadow on things. Yeah. It always does.
It sucks.
It just does. It just dims it down what's normally really bright and fun and pretty enjoyable. It just puts a little damper on it, and just. But it doesn't mean you quit. No. I mean, you just take responsibility. And if we quit every time we failed at anything ever, none of us would do anything.
Yeah. Especially nothing hard.
Nothing hard.
That's always the risk on when you take a big challenge. Is that this might not go your way.
Yeah, I mean, you could grab the remote to your TV, drop it, and break it. Are you going to quit watching TV? Well, now you can just tell Alexa, turn on the TV, and I want this, that, and then this, and go. Yeah. But we just, as animals, we don't. Our ancestors didn't quit. No, we don't quit. Mm-mm. But there's a difference between being honest and giving things honest effort and honest consideration and being irresponsible.
Yeah, we covered some miles, just making sure that wasn't a fatal hit. On that bull the first time.
Didn't seem like it. Not to me. And, and you're talking what we got combined. What do we got? It's almost 70 years of bow hunting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty good at being able to figure out lethal, not lethal.
We've been on a lot of blood trails.
Yeah. And it's not, nobody has all the answers, but you can make a lot of assumptions based on experience.
Yes. And experience is usually king.
So we did that and felt good about it. And it turned out we were right on. And then as fate would have it, we got got the I dotted and T crossed and got that bull, ended up getting him killed.
Dude, it's an amazing story. It's
awesome. I mean, couldn't be better.
There couldn't have been a better outcome. Mm-hmm. And I think Tanner said it too, trying to convince that bull to come over. I mean, what would we call him? Within 100 yards of that property line.
Oh yeah, that 6
I
point.
mean, I was doing everything I knew how to do.
All the tricks in the book.
I even did the old barbed wire fence trick, which I just totally pulled out of my ass.
Hey, it would have worked for me. I would be like, shit, there's elk crossing a fence right now.
Well, yeah.
I hear them.
Everybody's heard elk jump fences who's been around elk.
That was perfect.
And you hear the barbed wire squeaking and all that stuff. You're like,
didn't work.
Well, they know what that sounds like. Let's try that.
I like that. That's thinking outside the box.
But Tanner said that bull wouldn't come there because we were meant to kill this other one. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's some deep stuff.
That is. Yeah. No, it was meant to be, I think. I think he's right on with that. But, we were meant to kill that bull. And he was an awesome bull, 6x5, just extra devil tine on the one side.
You should show him. I just brought him down.
Yeah, I know. Go grab him.
Hey, Tanner, can you turn does that mic thing turn up a little bit?
No, he can. But you bring him over here to the table. He's right over there.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll set him on the table, and then he'll be here. Oh. There you go. Yeah, just set him right there.
Here?
Yep. Yeah, so there he is. Yeah, we're good.
I'll slide down just a touch.
That's good. But yeah, I don't know if this is on there, but that time is awesome. But yeah, just a cool dark horn bull. We saw his white tips. The first time I shot, I saw these first 3 tines, and I'm like, that's pretty good bull. It's Roosevelt. This isn't like giant Rocky Mountain elk, but yeah, I mean, just a cool bull.
These front. Yeah, I didn't see the fronts.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had never put this bull as the one you shot earlier together. Those never, because I saw half this rack and half his head behind a tree, and I think all this stuff was kind of lined up. Yeah,
probably.
And I couldn't tell. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, no, great front. Look at that. I mean,
I know.
Roosevelt's. I mean,
yeah,
this is good stuff for a Roosevelt bull.
Yeah, he's a cool bull.
He is a really cool bull. And
so, I mean, we'll wrap this thing up. But I did want to say, so we kind of talked about this. We did the lift and shoot event. And you came down and you that was fun, just talking to all those guys.
It was fun.
But I don't know if we ever figured out how many bulls we've killed together, but I think I mentioned it in that class, but maybe just for the podcast. What do you think what has determined why we've been able to kill so many bulls and get it done every single time? How do we get a bull killed every year? What's the secret?
Well, we go.
Yeah, it's true. You got to be out there.
I mean, we go.
Yeah.
And of course, you hunt multiple hunts, have been since I've known you. And it's like, but still it's compressed. And I think it's just a drive, we don't waste a lot of time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do we take a nap in the middle of the day sometimes when it's slow and it's 95 degrees and we're pissed off? Sure.
Yeah.
It's not that fun when you're not seeing or hearing anything, and that happens. But I think just the consistency, we just slowly grind at it. Mm-hmm. This isn't working well, we're going to walk over here. That's not working well, we're going to go hunt this one.
Yeah.
We haven't seen elk there for a week. Well, we're going there anyways.
Yeah.
And we're going to try because we might kill one if we're out there. We won't kill one if we're in here.
The key, any success I've had is just putting in work.
It's just
punch that time clock.
Yeah.
If you're out there, anything can happen.
I mean, I remember that one year you were keeping track, I think, on your phone.
Yeah.
And you were doing the miles, so you'd ask me, okay, Kev, how many miles today? And I'd be like, I don't know, man, like 6. You're like 13.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, and that was a slow year.
Yeah. We definitely cover country.
And
but that's my secret everywhere.
Yeah.
Is I'm just gonna try to outwork whatever problem there is. I remember that time, and I mentioned it in my book too. It's like it was like I think it was the year I killed that giant, but it was hot as hell.
Slow.
Giant moon. And I was saying, yeah, fuck that moon. I wish there's two full moons.
Yeah, I wish it was hotter. Good. Yeah. More time to practice your hot weather techniques.
Yeah. So it's like, we're just going to throw time and work at it. We'll punch in, just be out there, do everything we can, full effort, 100%. and see what happens. And at the end of it, seems like we're always sitting there with the bull.
We heard one bull that entire hunt.
I know. Yeah.
And we just kept doing hunts and kept walking, and we're talking. We're well, let's try that spot. Let's try this spot. And so I think that's and we hunt a good spot. Mm-hmm. That's a good spot.
Yeah,
and
it is.
For anybody,
good country.
Yeah, anybody listening to this and they go, well, what's some of the advice or secrets or whatever? It's like, try to get in the best country you can. There are places, and there's lots of good elk country all over this western United States. It's public ground.
Yeah.
And
yeah, definitely.
And it will take some work. There's drawn really good tags. It takes time. But sometimes it's just some work, and you're going to have to put some effort in to find those better spots.
Yeah.
And, we're hunting a good spot. That helps.
Yeah.
More opportunity.
Definitely.
But it can be dead, and it was dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than you using a hunting fool, or we talked about the members research supplement with Eastman's. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're not going through all that data to find shitty areas.
No.
You're going through it to find the very best area because it helps your odds.
Yeah.
So all I've done my whole life is like, where's the best elk hunting in the world? How can I figure out a way to go there?
Exactly.
But so even if you don't have that, or if it's not realistic for you to hunt the very best, well, so what's your goal? Is to hunt the next best.
What's within your scope? What's in your orbit?
Means or your availability. And then you just but you always want to hunt the very best you can.
Yes.
It's no different. I used to hunt right up here out of Marcola.
Sure.
Tough hunting. And then I was like, man, the Eagle Cap Wilderness, that's tough hunting, but it's better than where I was.
There's more elk.
So I'll go there. And then it's like, so we hunted Oregon, you hunted Oregon, but then you're like, well, wait, Idaho, that's better than Wyoming is better than Idaho, maybe. So it's like, we're just playing this game of let's just keep finding better and better and better opportunities and taking advantage of it if you can.
Then you go to Arizona and there's 35, 40 bulls per 100 cows on public ground.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah. This is why people are looking at 350s and saying dink. And we're here in Oregon, and 350 might as well be a world record.
It would be a world record.
For Oregon.
It would be my personal world record.
Yeah.
But and there's some, there's some good points, and there's some good, I've killed 350 bull in Oregon.
Yeah.
A Walla Walla bull.
Yeah.
But that's tough hunting, let me tell you.
Oh, definitely.
That's a big, steep, brutal country.
Definitely.
And of course, you end up killing stuff at the bottom of the canyons. But there's just do, the best you can. I mean, most people, me included, ain't going to hunt the San Carlos.
I know.
That's a different game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like you said, what's the next place? Where is really good that I can hunt?
Right.
And even there's public ground, and there's a whole bunch of it, and there's a whole bunch of it that doesn't have elk on it, and there's some of it that does.
Yeah.
I would find a way to be in the spot where some of it does, right? Be in those spots.
It's the odds, and it's a numbers game. So just hunt the most you can in the best area you can.
That's the secret sauce right there.
That's it.
That's it. And time. The more time you can do it, the more opportunities you're probably going to have.
I like it because people will say like, oh, well, it must be nice to hunt San Carlos or to hunt wherever the other great places I hunt. I'm saying, it is fucking nice. But exactly. But don't forget, I mean, and I can look at you, I can look at me, I can look at Wayne at the bow rack or Roy, when he was here. And it's like, we've killed everywhere we've ever went. Mm-hmm. So of course you're going to kill at San Carlos and whatever, but don't forget that we've killed on the shittiest hunts everywhere.
Exactly.
So it's like, you can't just say, well, it's just because of this. It's like, well, what about all these other, in every country, every state, every place I've ever went, I've killed. What about that?
Yeah. What about a brand? You drew a really good tag, never been there in your life, but you show up with that arsenal and that tool bag, and you go to work.
Right. So
and you start dissecting, you start calling, you learn road systems, you hike, you do all this stuff, and you just apply yourself to it. Mm-hmm. And then in the end, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
But it usually, like I said, all those guys I just mentioned, it's like it pretty much always works. They're always getting,
There's some consistency.
You've always killed. It's going to happen because the skill sets they travel with you.
They do.
And then you get there, you break it down, you hunt hard, and usually all that experience pays off and it happens.
Something gives way eventually.
Yeah,
but you know
you get
what
that
I say
chance.
when people say it must be nice? And I go, no, you're wrong, man. It's fucking way better than nice.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
what it is. Because I've
Definitely.
been there on San Carlos with you one year when I was driving the truck, and that is the most fantastic thing I've ever seen.
Me too. Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And some people might, well, I'm going to hunt there. It's like, dude, me neither, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
To appreciate that for what it is. If you can't appreciate that, maybe you should revisit your, if you want to hunt or not.
Right.
Because don't set that as your bar. That's pretty unique.
Yeah. When I first went there, it's expensive. And I was like, this will be a one and done.
It should be.
One and done,
Right.
once in a lifetime. I'm just going to, do whatever it takes to get there this one time just to experience it. And so that it's not realistic for people like us. That's all there's to it. It's just like,
No.
as for people like Warnock or people with way more money than us.
Sorry, Gerald.
Yeah. So it's like, but to me, just to your point, I was just like, one time I just want, I've watched the videos. We used to watch this video at the bow rack, the big bulls of San Carlos or whatever. And it was just, I didn't even know there was elk like that on this planet. And so we'd watch it and obsess over it. And then just like, wait, so you're saying if I write this check, I can hunt the same country? And it's, you've been down there. There's no fences. It's big country.
There's no fences.
It's big country.
There's nothing for 1,000 miles.
No, and everybody, it's not archery. It's any weapon.
Yeah.
Nobody's using a bow. No. It's like, but the Apache tribe, they freaking know elk. Everybody knows. They know that country. They know where the big bulls like to hang out. So you will get some competition because the tribal members, they get tags too.
Yeah.
And we're down there, and it's just like, I just got so much respect for that country, for what it is and how special it is and how magical it is. And then also, I love the culture and the people and the tradition of it. I love everything about it. So even if it was a once in a lifetime, I'm like, that's okay. That's good enough for me. And now somehow it's been 6 lifetimes.
Some things should be once in a lifetime, man. I'm not saying that, but there are some things, and that's what makes them special. They obviously know they're special, like you said, and those people, it's amazing what they do and the resources that they've developed, and they know what big bulls look like too. Because when a guy looks and goes, nah, and it's like a 390 bull, and they're like, and I'm like,
I know.
But here's the trap people fall into, right? There's ego involved, there's jealousy, but they set their own bar based on that. Don't do that.
No, hell no.
Don't do that.
I can't be taking what you expect there to other states.
No, you do. You would hate hunting.
Would I have killed this bull? I mean, think about.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I know people. They say what. Comparison is a thief of joy.
It is a thief of joy.
It's 100%. It's like you can't compare bulls down there to anywhere else.
No,
That's
you
all
can't.
there is to it.
And don't fall in that trap. Just enjoy. I don't know. There's far more enjoyment in just realizing what you got, understanding what the upper limits that are. And I mean, maybe you're just a cow hunter and you want to go shoot a cow and stuff.
Well,
that's fine.
I know it's one reason why you and I get along so well is because, so we got this bull killed here in Oregon, and I wasn't any less happy than when I killed that bull right behind you in San Carlos this year, which is a giant bull. I wasn't more happy with that bull than this bull. Because hunting is so cherished and means so much, and every bull is. You're rewarded for this effort with this bull. And it's like, I don't give a fuck how big it is, really.
Dude, that was just as, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it a giant Roosevelt? No, but it's real classic looking.
Yeah.
Real and typical, and he's got some nice fronts. But it was a good hunt, a great shot.
I was the same.
Ended up being what it was.
I was the same, just as happy as when I killed that bull right behind you.
And successful.
Yeah.
So don't let that thief steal your joy.
No, I know I don't.
I don't either.
I hope others can. It's hard though, because we are competitive.
We are a competitive beast.
Men are competitive. It's like we have the egos. We love to talk shit. We love to discount what other people do. I get it. I've done it too.
Yep. I did it. And I think that for me personally, when I was younger, there was more comparison like that. And in a way, it kind of drove me a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the guy with more pictures up on the board.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to be that guy.
The most pictures.
Yeah. And I was like, so it drove me, but I don't think I'd never let that like permeate into, if I didn't get that, that hunting wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was always fun.
No.
I just wanted to go. So if that's your standard, then it's going to be a tough row to hoe.
Yeah.
You know, I'd much rather people just enjoy it for what there's so much to enjoy.
Oh man, it's such a gift to be able to be out there in the mountains with a bow. Are you kidding me? How much better is life than that? Those moments where we're out there matching wits with a herd of elk.
Yeah.
And we're hunting. It's just like, just enjoy it for what it is. It's a gift.
It's fixed. It's finite, man. It doesn't go on forever.
No.
So,
well, I know next weekend we're going to be having Truett out there trying to find a buck, and Tanner's going to be along with us. We're going to try to get that on film too. But,
awesome.
Kevin, thank you. It's, you're one of my best friends now. You know, we've lost our best friends.
Yeah.
And now we're stuck with each other.
I know. How'd you get so lucky?
But it's, I love hunting with you. I love that you love what I love. It just makes it, we have such a good time. And I appreciate your friendship and all the great times we've had chasing elk. Yeah.
And hopefully great times to come, and I appreciate all the same things in you. It really does. It's not hard. It's not easy to find people who kind of have the same mindset and can enjoy that. Right. Yeah. You can tell when someone is actually enjoying something or they're just kind of faking it. Yeah. A little bit and kind of, whatever. But it's just cool. We just show up and do our deal, and not a lot of fanfare, not a lot of,
just what we do.
It's just go about our business and have fun, man. Yeah. I appreciate you too very much. Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah. Thank you. I give a shout out to Ron Hofsis and Bubba. Bubba Shorb. Yeah, right? He is a Shorb. Shorb, yeah. Those guys are part of the team down there. Absolutely. They know that property so well, hunted there their whole lives. Like, I don't know they're in this almost 70, right? Ron's over 70. Yeah. Ron's 72 or 73. 70 years of knowing that country. That's so yeah. Those, we get down there, we team up, we get bulls killed. Yeah. And I was glassing with Bubs this morning, and I'm thankful for it because, it's not going to last forever. Nothing does. No. And so I'm going to enjoy every time I can, and well, yeah. We got some more days ahead of us. Thank you, brother. Next weekend. Excellent. All right. Thank you, man. Keep hammering. Guys, it's Cameron Haynes here. I'm going to be giving away this brand new Ford Raptor 2023 fully loaded badass truck. You got 20-inch wheels, 35-inch tires. The tax man loves coming for that money, right? I'm giving away $10,000 cash to offset that for the winner. You get a truck and $10,000 in cash. I want you to win this brand new 2023 Ford Raptor. Enter to win, CameronHaynes.com. Keep hammering. Step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the fuel in dirt. Feeling like Cam Haynes.